You know that feeling, right? The one where you get to the end of a long day, maybe even just a tough meeting, and you just feel completely zapped.
Yeah, like work took way more out of you than it gave back.
Exactly. Or you look at your to-do list and you just think, is this really where I'm meant to be spending my time? Is this actually what I'm best at?
That sense of being drained or, that feeling that your daily tasks just don't line up with your best abilities. It's incredibly common, actually.
And it makes you wonder, what if you could flip that?
Hmm.
What if you could spend most of your time doing the things that don't just not drain you, but actively energize you?
The things that make you feel like you're really operating at your peak.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly the core question that leads us into this deep dive.
Hmm.
Today, we are zeroing in on the fundamental power of identifying and actually leveraging your unique strengths in the workplace.
And for this, we're digging into excerpts from Marcus Buckingham's book, Go Put Your Strengths to Work. That's our source material.
Right. And our mission for you listening in is to really distill the absolute must-know nuggets and, maybe more importantly, the practical steps from this material.
Yeah, we want you to understand why shifting your focus to strengths is, well, it's backed by solid evidence, and really how you can genuinely start steering your own work life towards what strengthens you.
We want to give you tangible actions you can implement, like right away.
Exactly.
All right, so let's unpack this. The core idea that kind of kickstarts the whole strengths movement. As the source lays it out, it feels almost counterintuitive at first.
It really does. It challenges some beliefs we hold pretty deeply. The basic idea is this: excellence is not the opposite of failure. And if that's true, then you learn very little about excellence by studying failure.
Which is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're always told, analyze your mistakes,
Yeah.
learn from what went wrong.
Absolutely. But the source makes a really compelling case using these contrasting examples. Like, if you want to understand how environmental cleanups achieve excellence, you should study successful ones, like Rocky Flats, not disasters like Chernobyl.
Because Chernobyl tells you what not to do after it's all gone wrong.
Precisely. But it doesn't show you the path to excellence in the first place. Or think about medical research. To understand how the body fights disease well, you study healthy people who fight off viruses effectively, like some HIV research looking at populations that weren't affected.
Instead of only studying the disease's effects.
Right, the focus shifts to understanding what works.
Makes sense.
And even with teams studying unproductive teams, yeah, they argue a lot, but guess what? Successful teams often argue just as much.
Really?
Yeah. So the key isn't avoiding arguments, it's what's happening between the arguments in those successful teams. The insight comes from understanding what lifts performance up, not just what causes things to break down.
Okay. And this book really focuses on what the source calls the second stage of the strengths movement.
Yeah.
The action stage. The first stage was more about like labeling, right, taking tests, identifying potential strengths.
Yes, exactly. And the core practical point of this action stage is pretty unwavering. People and organizations reach excellence only by amplifying strengths.
Not by just fixing weaknesses.
They simply do not excel by only focusing on weaknesses.
And you see this at the company level, right?
Right.
The source mentions places like Starbucks, Lexus, Apple.
Dell, yeah. They figure out what they're strong at, and the book quotes Peter Drucker here. They work to make their weaknesses irrelevant.
Right, like Jim Collins's work, too, focusing on what you can be the best in the world at.
Spot on. And the data backs this up massively at the team level. Those big studies, Gallup's work, and that huge one by Harder and Schmidt on over 8,000 teams,
Wow.
they consistently find that teams where people say they spend more time playing to their strengths, they have way lower turnover, much higher productivity, and, this is key, higher customer satisfaction scores.
So it really hits the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So when companies say our people are our greatest asset, the source suggests a little tweak to that.
Yeah, it suggests what they really mean, or maybe what they should mean is our people's strengths are our greatest asset.
Ah.
Because in today's world, value creation, creativity, innovation, judgment, that stuff happens most powerfully in a person's areas of strength.
Focusing on strengths isn't just about making people happier.
Although that's a great side effect.
Right. But it's mainly because it makes people objectively better performers.
Exactly. Better results.
Okay, so the principle sounds solid, the evidence is there.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Because despite all this awareness, the tools, the talk about strengths, There's this big gap between knowing and actually doing.
There really is. The source has some surprising data. Only about 17% of people polled right now spend most of their time playing to their strengths.
Oh, 17%.
Yeah. And maybe the most startling thing, that number is actually down from 20% back in 2001.
Down. How is that possible after all this focus? Feels like we're missing something huge.
It really highlights the challenge, doesn't it? We just can't
Yeah.
make our best contributions, and we definitely can't avoid burnout if we're only tapping into our strengths like once a week.
Yeah, that won't cut it. Burnout often hits hardest when you're always working against the grain, right?
Totally, when you're constantly outside your strength zones.
So the need is clear.
Mm-hmm.
We have to dramatically increase that percentage. And the book introduces this idea, this push discipline.
Yes, the push discipline. It's about taking, like, fierce personal responsibility.
Yeah.
The source is really clear on this. Nobody knows your strengths and weaknesses better than you do.
Makes sense.
And because of that, you have to actively push your work and, just as important, push the expectations people have of you towards your strengths and away from your weaknesses.
Because your manager, your team, they can't just guess this stuff perfectly. They don't feel what you feel doing a task.
Precisely. And look, this isn't about demanding a job where you only do things that strengthen you. That's often just not realistic.
Right.
It's a discipline you practice consistently. The goal is just ensuring you use your strengths a little more this week than last week. That small, steady shift.
It's that continuous effort building momentum.
Yeah.
And the source uses that analogy, put on your own oxygen mask first.
Yeah, that's a good one. You have to master this discipline for yourself before you can really help others or change your team dynamics significantly.
Which brings us right to the first step in the 6-step discipline laid out in the book.
Mhm.
Step 1, bust the myths.
And the question the source basically asks you, the listener, is, so what's actually stopping you from doing this?
And the challenging part is the answer might not be your boss or your job description. It might be what you believe.
Yeah.
You could be stopping yourself.
Exactly. And there are two big, pervasive myths the source really targets. Myth number 1. As you grow and get older, your core personality changes.
We hear that all the time, right?
Right.
Or we feel it. Oh, I'm so different now than I was 10 years ago.
But the reality, according to the source and a lot of research it draws on, is pretty much the opposite. Your core personality doesn't fundamentally change.
Okay.
Yeah, you actually become more of who you already are. The patterns just get deeper over time.
More. Wow, that feels significant.
Hmm.
The source mentions the fundamental attribution error here, doesn't it?
Right. That's our tendency to explain someone's actions by blaming their personality instead of the situation.
Yeah.
The source argues that while psychologists might call it an error in the lab, in real life, it's actually adaptive. It kind of works most of the time because people do tend to have consistent, recognizable ways of being.
And the research mentioned, like, those identical twin studies.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
Incredibly compelling. Twins raised apart, showing strong personality similarities, correlations around 0.7. But the craziest part, over decades, even without meeting, their personalities often become more similar. It's like the innate wiring just asserts itself more strongly over time. Suggests a really deep inherent structure.
Yeah.
The book gives this vivid example of Marcus Buckingham watching his 5-year-old son, Jackson, being intensely competitive, like needing to win everything. You see that core trait so clearly, and you can kind of predict how it'll show up later, maybe more subtly, like needing to be just a step ahead walking down a hallway.
So if the reality is we become more of who we are, why do so many people believe the myth that we change completely?
Well, the source suggests it's often a comfort thing. Believing your personality changes gives you a sort of excuse, right, for not changing now, for not taking responsibility for who you are today and how you show up.
That's challenging.
It is. And the source asks some really potent reflection questions here for you, the listener. Like, how does believing this myth actually serve you? What would it cost you to let it go? And maybe most importantly, what could you gain by embracing the idea that you become more of who you are?
Really makes you think. Okay, so challenging that is step 1. What's the second big myth?
Myth number 2 is maybe even more ingrained in how we think about work and growth.
Well,
You will grow the most in your areas of greatest weakness.
yes, the classic advice. Find your weak spot. Hammer away at it.
Exactly. But the source argues, no, nature wired you differently. You're naturally set up to grow most and fastest where you already have some existing capacity. in your strengths.
And there's a biological reason for this.
Yeah, the science mentioned points to how you grow the most new brain connections, synaptic connections, where you already have the most existing ones.
Okay.
It's like building on a strong foundation is much faster and more efficient than trying to build on bare dirt.
So if that's the biology, what does it actually feel like when you're working in an area of strength where you have that capacity?
The source describes it as feeling easy, almost effortless. Even if the task itself is hard, you pick things up quickly. You find yourself naturally focusing, and time can just disappear. It connects really well with Csikszentmihalyi's research on flow.
Right. That state of total immersion.
Exactly, where you lose track of time yourself. He found deep links between that kind of concentration and happiness, although sometimes you only realize how happy you were afterwards looking back.
So it's like effortless effort.
That's a great way to put it. Activities that challenge you in a way you actually like, where you want to concentrate, you get lost in it.
And that feeling, that deep engagement, it becomes almost addictive, like the need part of that Sadian framework they use.
Yes. It creates this powerful internal drive, that N for need. You feel good doing it, you feel strong, and so you have the I for instinct, you want to do it again. You seek it out.
That makes sense.
The book uses a great contrast between Marcus Buckingham and his wife Jane regarding life TV. He can do it, he's competent, but it wipes him out. He dreads it. His wife Jane, though, she loves it, feels totally alive doing it, even though she hates flying to get there. Same activity, vastly different appetite.
And that appetite is the key, more than just ability.
Far more important when deciding where to invest your energy for growth. Appetite tells you where your potential lies.
This really flips the script on the usual advice about just practicing harder.
Well, the source agrees diligent practice is crucial for excellence. You don't get great without putting in the time.
Right.
But the huge missing piece in the standard advice is what you practice. Your inherent appetites, those deep-seated desires, are the fuel. They determine which things you yearn to practice.
So appetite fuels the practice, practice drives the performance.
Yep.
That's the IGN instinct. Growth needs spiraling upwards.
Exactly. And busting those two myths, personality change and growing most in weakness, that's the essential first step. It clears the way to actually taking action.
Which brings us neatly to step 2. Get clear.
Okay.
Myths busted, maybe. But do you really know in concrete terms what your strengths are?
And we're not just talking about a label from a test here, like, strategic or futuristic. The source says those profiles can be useful cues. They can point you where to look.
But they aren't the full picture.
No. Your true strengths, according to this approach, are defined by specific activities you actually do.
Things you do in your day or week.
Right. Activities you perform consistently well, near perfectly, and this is critical, that invigorate you. They give you energy.
That feeling is the key differentiator.
Absolutely. That's where the Sajian framework comes in fully. S for success. Can you do it well, consistently? I for instinct. Do you kind of just know how to start, feel drawn to it? G for growth. Do you learn fast, enjoy the learning process? And N for need. Do you feel strong doing it, look forward to doing it again?
And weaknesses, then, are just the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Activities that reliably weaken you, drain you, bore you, frustrate you. And this is important, regardless of how skilled you might be at them.
That's a crucial distinction. Ability isn't the deciding factor for weakness either.
Not at all. The source gives that example of Matt Borden, the swimmer. Olympic potential, amazing ability, but he hated it. It drained him.
Right, but he loved guitar,
Yeah.
even though he wasn't initially good at it.
Exactly. His appetite for guitar showed where his real strength lay, where the energy was. Ability in swimming was high, but it was a weakness because it weakened him.
Or that woman who was brilliant at organizing complex projects.
Flawless execution, right. But she felt miserable doing it. Utterly drained. High ability is zero appetite. That's not a strength to lean into, it's a weakness in disguise.
Okay, so how do we figure this out for ourselves, practically?
This leads to the core process. Capture, clarify, and confirm. It's a structured way to tune into your actual lived experience at work.
Capture first. What does that involve?
Super simple, really. Over a week, just keep track. Maybe use a notebook or 2 pages. A green page for activities that made you feel strong, energized, focused, good. And a red page for activities that left you feeling weak, drained, bored, maybe frustrated.
And be specific about the activities.
Very specific. Not just meetings, but loved renegotiating that supplier contract, or felt energized brainstorming email campaign ideas, or enjoyed coaching the new team member. For the red page, Felt drained listening to Mr. Smith's complaint, hated doing the manual data entry for the report, avoided calling that difficult client.
Got it. So you capture these specific moments. Then what?
Then you clarify. For each activity you listed, green or red, you ask 4 key questions. Does it matter why I was doing it? Does it matter who I was doing it with or for? Does it matter when I did it? And crucially, does it matter the precise what of the activity?
Okay, those sound powerful. What do they help you do?
They help you zero in on the core elements that make something strengthening or weakening for you. It gets past the surface level.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, the source uses Marcus Buckingham's own clarifications. He felt strong interviewing Rosa, an excellent hotel housekeeper. Clarifying. Why? Didn't matter. Part of a project. When? Didn't matter. Who? That mattered. He only felt strong interviewing people who excelled. And what? That mattered too, specifically exploring why they excelled.
Okay, so it wasn't just interviewing. It was interviewing excellent people about their excellence.
Exactly, which led to his strength statement. I feel strong when I interview someone who excels at his job and explore why he excels. See how specific that is?
Yeah, very clear. What about another one?
Preparing for a presentation, he felt strong. Clarifying why. Mattered had to lead to a presentation, part of a bigger mission, not just random thinking. What? Mattered had to be extending knowledge he already had, not starting totally fresh. Who and when didn't matter.
So the strength statement became?
I feel strong when I take a subject I already know a great deal about and extend this knowledge still further as part of a presentation.
And you do the same clarification for the red page activities, the weaknesses.
Yep, same questions. His example was attending a cocktail party after a speech. Clarifying showed the why, who, when didn't really matter. It was what the essence was, flitting from meaningless exchange to meaningless exchange. That's what jarred him.
Leading to a weakness statement like, I feel weak when I have to mingle with a group of 40 to 50 people after a speech.
Precisely. And the source really stresses when you craft these strength statements, they should resonate. They should feel familiar, maybe like something you'd forgotten about yourself. They should kind of move you. If you read it and feel nothing, try again, clarify more.
Okay, capture, clarify, then confirm.
Confirm is the last check. You can do it through just reflecting honestly, or the book describes a weakness test, a way to gauge just how weakening something is. Is it true kryptonite, something you should avoid at all costs, or just a weak spot you might manage sometimes, especially if you're feeling strong overall?
And this whole process helps fight that shooting voice, right? The one that says you should be good at this or you should enjoy this.
Exactly. It helps you push back against that. The Warren Buffett example is perfect here. He admitted philanthropy, giving money away, didn't strengthen him. It felt boring, draining.
Which is kind of shocking to hear, maybe.
Right? But because he accepted that, he made the strong choice to give his money to the Gates Foundation because they are strengthened by distributing it well. He focused on his strength, making money, and managed his weakness, distributing it, by teaming up, essentially.
So accepting what weakens you without judgment is actually a strength.
A huge strength of character, the source argues. You don't need to feel bad about it. Just get clear so you can handle it strategically.
Okay, so we've busted myths. We've gotten clear through capture, clarify, confirm. That feels like a massive step. But then, okay, now what? How do I actually do more of the good stuff? That's step 3, free your strengths.
Yeah, it's natural to feel this burst of energy once you have that clarity, like, okay, let's change everything.
Right.
But the source reminds us, the world, your job, it's not perfectly set up just for your strengths. The real skill is learning how to use your strengths to meet the demands you face. It won't always be easy street.
So you need a tool for that. The book talks about the strong week plan.
Exactly. The weekly time frame is presented as just right, not too long like a year, not too short like a day. It's a practical scale for planning.
And it has those 2 dials.
Yep. Simple but effective. First dial, assess. Roughly what percentage of your time last week did you spend playing to your strengths? Be honest. Second dial, plan, predict. What percentage are you aiming for next week?
So it keeps your attention on moving that needle, right?
Yeah.
Trending towards more strength-based work.
That's the idea. Are you consciously trying to do more of what strengthens you? And the source gives 4 specific strategies for doing this, summed up by the acronym FREE.
Free? What does that stand for?
Focus, reconfigure, educate, and expand. They're basically different angles for thinking about how to bring more of your strengths into your current role. The source has questions to help you brainstorm actions for each.
And the story of Heidi illustrates this. The woman who hated chasing hotels.
Yeah, she's a great example. That part of her job, calling underperforming GMs, was incredibly draining for her. A real weakness activity.
But she identified her strengths:
Yeah.
relationships, ideas, support, training.
Right. And she started using the strong week plan to consciously think, how can I do more of this? Working with enthusiastic new GMs, which she loved, and less of that, chasing resistant ones. She started focusing her energy where it felt strong.
So she actively looked for ways to shift her activities. That's freeing your strengths.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the flip side, step 4, stop your weaknesses. How do you cut out or at least reduce the stuff that drains you?
This one, the source admits, is often tougher. It takes real creativity to stop doing something, but make sure the work still gets done somehow.
And it goes against the grain, right? That idea that you should just buckle down and fix your weaknesses. Remember that 87% stat.
Exactly. 87% believe you grow most in weakness. So trying to stop doing something you're weak at can feel like you're giving up or being difficult.
You need some determination here.
You really do. It's the essential other half of freeing your strengths. And again, 4 strategies, this time using the acronym SDOP.
Stop, dopey. Let me guess. Stop. Team up.
You got the first 2. Stop doing it. Team up with someone strengthened by it. Offer one of your strengths to get it done differently. And perceive the weakness differently.
Okay, stop. Team up. Offer. Perceive. And Heidi's story shows these too, with the hotel chasing.
Perfectly. For stop, she literally decided to just stop calling some of the worst offenders for a while, just to see if anyone noticed or if it mattered as much as she thought. A bold move.
Wow. Okay, team up.
She partnered with her colleague, Jean. Turns out, Jean actually liked the detailed follow-up and tracking that Heidi hated. It strengthened Jean.
So they swapped or collaborated?
Yeah. They worked together, each playing to their strengths. Better results, happier people.
Nice. Offer.
Heidi used her analytical strength. Instead of randomly chasing everyone, she analyzed where her efforts would make the biggest difference and focused only there. She offered her analysis strength to make the chasing more targeted and effective.
Smart.
Yeah.
And perceive.
She changed her mindset. Instead of seeing herself as a corporate nag or babysitter for these GMs, she reframed her role as being a partner, a consultant offering support. That shift in perception changed how she felt about the interactions she still had to do.
That's really powerful. So identifying weaknesses isn't just about feeling bad. It's about unlocking these strategies to make your job more workable.
Exactly. It gives you agency. You realize your job might be more flexible than you thought.
Okay, so you do the internal work. You start freeing strengths, stopping weaknesses. But eventually you need other people involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
That leads to step 5. Speak up. How do you talk about this stuff effectively?
Because you can only push things so far on your own. Eventually, you hit the rigid walls the source talks about: job descriptions, processes, other people's expectations.
Yeah, you need backup, especially from your manager.
You absolutely do. But speaking up about strengths and weaknesses at work, it's tricky.
Why is that?
Well, work talk is often like hyper-rational, all about metrics, skills, tasks, not usually about feelings or what energizes you versus drains you.
And people worry, right? About seeming lazy or like they're complaining.
Totally. Fear of being seen as difficult or not a team player.
So the goal here is to have what the source calls strong conversations.
Yes. Conversations where you can explain what strengthens and weakens you in a way that actually makes your manager want to help you contribute more effectively. It's about framing it positively.
And there's a specific sequence for these conversations to build up to it.
Yeah, a really practical sequence. It starts with conversation 1, the strengths chat. But not with your boss yet.
Who with?
With a trusted friend or ally. Someone outside work, ideally. This is just practice. You articulate your strength statements, give examples, get comfortable saying this stuff out loud. Your friend just listens, maybe asks clarifying questions. No advice needed.
Okay, practice first. Then.
Conversation 2. The how I can help you meeting. This one is with your manager. You pick just one strength. Explain it clearly, using your statement and examples. Then pivot. Here's how I think this strength could really help with specific project goal important to the boss team.
So you lead with value, how you can contribute more.
Exactly. The source gives template language, but the core is showing how your strength benefits them or the team. It builds goodwill and positive context.
Smart. Okay, what's next?
Back to your friend for conversation 3, the weakness chat. Same idea as the strengths chat, just practicing talking about 1 or 2 weaknesses using your weakness statements.
And the goal here is?
Get comfortable naming them without excuses or apologies. And crucially, learn the art of the comeback. If your friend instinctively tries to give advice on how to fix the weakness, gently redirect. Practice saying things like, yeah, I know it's a challenge. What I'm really looking for are ways to manage around it. You're practicing steering the conversation towards S.P strategies.
Okay, preparing for the real conversation, which is?
Conversation 4. The how you can help me meeting. Again, with your manager. Focus on just one key weakness. Explain clearly how it slows you down or gets in the way of using your strengths. Frame it as wanting to be more effective overall.
And you come prepared.
Yes. Propose 3 or 4 specific ideas using the S.P strategies for how you could minimize it or manage around it. Ask for their help in implementing one of those ideas. Again, template language helps frame it as, I need your help to contribute more.
That sequence makes a lot of sense, building trust and context before tackling the harder conversation.
And the source also really emphasizes speaking up as a team, sharing strengths and weaknesses openly with colleagues.
How does that look?
Things like affirming each other's strengths, asking, how can I support you with that task that weakens you? When planning projects, asking, okay, who is genuinely strengthened by this kind of work? It's about making it a team effort.
Aligning tasks to energy, not just skills. Okay, this is all great, but it feels like something you could do once and then forget. How do you make it stick? Step 6, build strong habits.
Yes, consistency is everything. This can't be a one-off workshop. The source lays out 5 specific strong habits to create a rhythm.
5 habits, what are they? Daily.
Daily, just take a minute, look over your top 3 strength statements and top 3 weakness statements. Just keep them front of mind.
Okay, simple enough. Weekly.
Weekly, do your strong week plan, assess last week's percentage, plan for next week's. That's your regular check-in and course correction.
Got it. Quarterly.
Quarterly, have what the source calls a close the books chat on your strengths, a dedicated 30-minute meeting with your manager.
About what specifically?
Discuss 3 tangible achievements from the last quarter where consciously using your strength or managing your weaknesses made a real difference. It locks in the learning and helps plan the next quarter. The source notes you might have to proactively schedule this one yourself.
Okay. Every 6 months.
Every 6 months. Pick a week and redo the full capture, clarify, confirm process. Things change, roles evolve, how your strengths show up might shift. It keeps your self-awareness sharp.
Good point.
Yeah.
And annually.
Annually. Take some kind of strengths engagement survey or do a similar personal check-in. How engaged are you with your strengths overall? Big picture view.
Wow, that's a comprehensive set of habits. Daily, weekly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. Keeps it alive.
That's the goal, to embed it.
Now, even with all this, life throws curveballs. The source touches on some common challenges, right? Like, what happens if? Scenario.
Yeah, it runs through a few, always linking back to the core discipline. Like, if you're not sure about taking a new job,
What's the advice?
prioritize the activities. What will you actually be doing all day? The source says the what always trumps the why and the who with. Focus on the tasks.
Well, what if you realize you took the wrong job? You're already in it.
Don't beat yourself up. Instead, immediately find a way to volunteer a specific strength you're sure about. Look for a coincidence, an opportunity that pops up because you put that strength out there. Like Kelly Barton, who hated recruiting but volunteered her relationship-building strength.
And found that leadership development role she loved.
Exactly. Deploy a strength, see what happens.
What if you're brand new? Everything feels uncertain.
Lead with a strength you know you have, even a small one. Like Kelly just meeting people, it creates a little island of certainty for yourself.
Makes sense. What if you just feel totally overworked?
The source says that's almost always a sign you're doing too many weakening activities.
Yeah.
Go back to capture, clarify, confirm. Use the strong week plan. Where is your time really going? How can you shift it?
Okay. The tough one. What if your manager just doesn't get it or is difficult?
Yeah, the source uses the blunt term idiot, but it says you can still flourish.
Ow.
Find small contained situations or projects where you can still apply your strength and get results. Prove its value through action, even if the manager doesn't understand the theory. Like Clive Spencer using his strategic thinking on one project despite his boss, you can create pockets of strength.
Good to know. And burnout.
Burnout is presented as a direct signal. You're spending way too much time on weakening activities. The solution isn't just rest, it's strategically applying this discipline.
What if you feel your job just isn't that important? Or you're not that important?
The source is really clear here. Your greatest contribution, your unique value, comes from applying your strengths, period. Regardless of the job title or perceived status.
Like the comparison between Buckingham and a heart surgeon.
Yeah. Both deliver huge value through their strengths. Own the contribution you can make using what strengthens you.
And finally, what if you lack confidence? If you think, I'm not good enough to have strengths.
Trust the process. Trust the discipline. Identify strengths based on the evidence of your own feelings and activities, not based on some pre-existing level of self-esteem. Confidence often follows the practice of the discipline.
Okay, so boiling it all down, what's the big takeaway?
Putting your strengths to work isn't automatic. It doesn't just happen when you get a job or get promoted. It's a conscious, learned discipline. You have to practice it.
It takes that intention, that self-awareness from capture, clarify, confirm, and then the guts to speak up using those conversations.
And realizing you have more control, more agency than you probably think. You can shape your work around what strengthens you. This 6-step discipline gives you the how.
It's really about shifting from feeling drained to feeling energized, right? Making a bigger impact and avoiding that burnout trap.
Definitely. And maybe we can leave you with this thought. It's from the source, quoting Anais Nin.
Oh yeah, that's a powerful one.
And the day came when the risk it took to remain tight in the bud became more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What's the real risk? Maybe the risk is in not putting your strengths to work.